Hi, I'm Tina Sibley and a very big welcome to this pre-webinar video for the ultimate guide to profitable webinars. Now, as I've already said, this webinar is going to be very different from anything you've ever experienced before, and the reason for that is you're not going to be having half an hour at the beginning full of gumph and fluff and, you know, a big massive introduction to me and a whole load of stuff putting it into context. So what I'm going to do is, for those of you who don't know me, I'm going to tell you a little bit about me here, but I'm also going to give you some extra stuff on webinars right here and right now. So a whole load of stuff about why you need to be running webinars in the first place. That means that on the webinar itself, I can spend most of the time just getting straight into the content. There'll be a small amount of context for those who haven't watched this video, but otherwise it's going to be content all the way. And I'm super excited because I've got so much to share with you. Okay, so what's it all about then? Well, quite simply, it's about helping you put together webinars that work, and particularly webinars that sell. I mean, this is just so important. You know, you can have a great webinar presentation, but unless it's actually helping you to get clients and earn more money, then what's the point? Obviously, you can use webinars for educational purposes as well. You know, that's brilliant. But what I really want to show is how I used webinars to increase my client base and increase my income. And I'm sure that is something that will be of interest to you. So on this little short video then, I'm just going to take you through a few things. But starting off, I just really want you to think about why it is that you do what you do. Now, for most people, that's going to mean that they want to make a difference. They want to make a difference in the lives of their clients. A lot of people become entrepreneurs not just because they love what they do, but because you get that satisfaction from helping the people who do business with you. And certainly for the coaches and the consultants and the trainers on this webinar, it is all about making a big difference. And webinars can help you to do that. Now, the other thing is, it's all about making a difference in your own life as well. So it's all about helping you to increase your income. And webinars really are the fastest and the easiest way that I know to do that. I first trained as a coach many years ago, and it was only really since I started doing webinars that I started having the success that I'm enjoying now. But I'll tell you a bit more about my story in a little while. To start with, this is all about you. Why are you here? Probably you've registered for this webinar because right now you don't have enough clients. You certainly might not have enough as you would like. You know, you may have a few, but I'm sure you would like some more. It could be that your subscriber list right now is very small. Because you've only got a small subscriber list and you don't have sufficient clients, that most likely means that you don't have the income that you would like to enjoy. And what that often means is that you're having to supplement your work with other stuff that you don't like doing, and which can be a right chore and a right pain in the bum to have to do. Massively, it means that if all of that is true, you're not making a difference. You know, you've spent a lot of money and a lot of time training to do what you do, whether it's coach, NLP practitioner, you know, or any other kind of entrepreneur. You've spent a lot of time learning your craft. But because you're not able to work with as many clients as you like, you're not able to make a difference to as many people. And, you know, that's really important. That contribution is really important. And what it also means is that you're not actually walking your talk. And this is something that really affected me. I kind of suffered a massive confidence loss when I was suffering with not enough clients, because I felt, well, how can I help other people to maximize their potential if I'm not maximizing my own potential? And, you know, so for many of us, this kind of idea of walking our talk is really important. So what you want instead is to have that massive subscriber list. And wouldn't that be lovely, you know? And the bigger the list, you eventually get to a stage where there are going to be people on that list who are ready to buy now, some who are not going to be ready to buy until later, but, you know, the later people often turn into the buy now people, but you've got to have that big subscriber list in the first place for that to happen. That in turn leads to plentiful clients, and now this is what you've always wanted to do: make a big difference. Once you've got clients, you know you're making a difference in their lives. And then what that also does is it gives you the income for your own dream life, so that you are maximising your potential and that is visible. And it's really important. You deserve it. You know, you've worked hard, you've kind of put the effort in, you've done the groundwork, and now it's time to reap the rewards. But it also leads you to become a role model and an inspiration for others. You know, I know that the people who inspire me are the people who are where I want to be. So as my business has grown, you know, the people that I look to as role models, that has changed. Some of them have kept ahead of me. You know, they've kept growing, which is fantastic. Some of them I've kind of equaled, and now I'm looking to other role models. So it's really important that we become a great role model for other people too. So the vehicle to get you from not having enough clients to having all the clients you can handle and more is quite simply the ability to speak to groups of people instead of having to do the whole thing, you know, one-to-one all the time, and particularly in this case through the use of webinars. That is really the key, is not having to convert clients one at a time, but actually, isn't it great to have the idea of converting many clients all in one hit? How wonderful is that? And then, you know, you can connect with them one-to-one afterwards, but it's, you know, getting them all into the fold. When is a good time to do this? Well, it's quite simply, it depends on how long you want to take from wading around in treacle to becoming a superstar. For me, I can't see why it would make any sense at all to spend a single day longer wading in treacle when you don't have to, when the route is there for you to come out of it. So, and you know, to step into the limelight and become a superstar. So basically the time is now, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to make this little video for you as well, to get you excited, to whet your appetite, and to make sure that, you know, you do make the effort to turn up live onto the webinar, because that's where you're going to get some great stuff. So I'm really looking forward to having you on the webinar. So if you do want to go from wading in treacle to being a superstar, as I've said, you need to be able to deliver a killer webinar presentation. So here's reasons why you need to be running webinars. Well, first of all, they are the fastest and easiest way to promote your business. You can make a decision to run a webinar 3 days from now, and you can literally do it. Now, obviously, for a lot of people starting out, you might think, oh, I could never run a webinar in 3 days from now. But once you get going, once you become experienced, you can just make that decision. I'm going to run a webinar on Thursday or whatever day, and you can do it. So on a Monday, you can decide, I'm going to run a webinar on Thursday, and boom, you can set it up, you can invite people, you can run a webinar, and it can happen as quickly and easily as that. Now, can you imagine what would happen if you tried to run a live seminar with only 3 days lead-in time? It just wouldn't happen, you know. So it really is one of the fastest and easiest ways to promote your business. It builds credibility and authority status. The people who are running webinars are the ones who are the leaders in the field. They're the go-to people. They're the people that other people follow, quite simply. So the very fact that you're running a webinar puts you in that seat of authority, and you know, you become a teacher rather than a learner, and that really sets you up to be the go-to person in your field. Now, this is where, for me, the biggest factor comes in, and that's the know, like and trust factor. If you go to any networking event, they'll tell you that people buy from people they know, like and trust, and that's why, you know, physical networking is massive. Well, webinars allow you to develop that know, like and trust factor with many, many more people than you will get in a room at a networking event. You know, you might go to a networking event, and for some of them you're lucky if there's 25 people in the room. On a webinar you can have up to 1,000. Now, Again, if you go to a big networking event where there's 1,000 people there, you're still probably only going to be able to talk to a certain amount of them, unless you happen to be the speaker on the stage. It's so much easier to get more people onto a webinar and make an impact and get them all to know, like, and trust you, because, you know, they can see you, they can see your personality. You know, you're talking to them. If you're using a webcam, they can see you, and you can really allow your personality to shine and get them to know you, and then they'll either like you or they won't, you know, simple as that. So that's one of the reasons I really love webinars. Now, the great thing is that apart from making sales, webinars build and grow your list. You might have a webinar, and when you first start out, you may not make any sales from your first webinar. I didn't. It took a little while for that to get going, but of course back then I didn't know what I know now either. But what did happen, even though I didn't make any sales, was steadily, as I ran more and more webinars, my list started to grow and people got to know me more and more and more, and it was brilliant. And what that does is basically brings me on to number 5, which is it deepens the relationship and the rapport with your list. Because if you do webinars on different topics, then they are going to get to know you, and, you know, they get to know your level of expertise as well. Now, it's not just all about sales. You can educate people through webinars. So you can educate people through free webinars, or you can use them as part of paid programs, in which case you won't be doing any selling on the webinar at all, because people have already bought it to be part of your paid program. So, or what you could do is just do simple educational webinars for free with the purpose of deepening the relationship or growing your list. You can also look at webinars as product creation. So you might run a series of webinars on a particular topic, and then what you do is you put those together and you've now created a product which you can then sell. Webinars are absolutely brilliant for working with JV partners. Once you've got a webinar and you know it converts, you're very attractive to JV partners, because you can say, hey, I've run this webinar, I've run it this many times, my conversion rates are 30%, and, you know, I'm going to be selling a product of this much and you're going to get 50% of that, or whatever it is. And then your JV partners, number one, are going to be attracted by that because you've got a track record, and number two, it's a really predictable way of getting income. So if a JV partner has got so many on the list and you know you're going to get so many people turning up for the webinar, you pretty much can work out how much income you're going to make from the webinar, which is brilliant. It's a really good way of promoting your products and services as well. I mean, you know, let's face it, so many webinars are used for this purpose because it works. It's one of the best ways of promoting your products, and, you know, making sales at the end of it is sometimes just like falling off a log. It's fantastic. But it's not just about your own products and services. You can also use webinars if you're an affiliate marketer. So you can use the webinars to promote other people's products and services. So you might give a review, for example, and you might actually give a review of a few platforms and then make a particular recommendation. But then, of course, you give out the affiliate links. So it's fantastic for affiliate marketing too. And finally, once you've got customers, you can deepen the relationship with them by giving them extra webinars and bonuses. You can use it to build up more content, and what you can do then is ask them to share your next webinars, you know, with their friends, so you're getting referrals. The other thing is, it provides the perfect platform for upselling. So if you get a webinar, somebody buys a small product, and then what you can do is at some point in the future hold another webinar where, now that they got to know, like, and trust you, you can now upsell and sell a higher price program. So there are millions of reasons. Well, okay, exaggeration. There's 12 very good reasons there why you need to be running webinars, and I'm sure that list is not exhaustive as well. So let me tell you a little bit about me. Well, I've got loads of bits of paper, and you can have a look on my website to see what those bits of paper are. But I was one of these people when I first started out. I just thought I couldn't get clients until, and I kept chasing qualifications. So I'm a qualified trainer. I got qualifications up to the hilt as a trainer, a coach, an NLP practitioner, speaker, you name it, and all the rest of it. I've been there and done it, and I don't think that's quite so important now. It was really important to me back then, but it is something that gave me confidence in the beginning. But more importantly, I'm a paid professional speaker. I have been paid to speak on stage and, you know, get paid very handsomely for a half an hour talk, which is lovely. There are not that many people out there who are training on webinars or doing speaker training who have actually done it and treaded the boards themselves. You know, so they may have done the train the trainer course, but they've never actually gone up there and been paid to speak themselves. On the other side of things, there are a lot of professional speakers who have been paid well, but they've not been trained how to pass that information on. I'm basically speaking from both camps because I'm a trained trainer and I've been there and done it and got the t-shirt as well. On top of that, I am a massive fan of continuous improvement. I have literally studied with the best in the industry, and what I've done is I've put together all of their ideas. I've taken the best from the best and put them together to make a kind of super training, if that makes sense. And I know how it feels to be at the starting point. I know how frustrating it can feel. I know what it's like to feel overwhelmed by everything that there appears to be, and I'm going to give everything to you in simple, easy to follow terms. Bit about me personally: I live in Plymouth in the southwest of England. I was about to say the sunny southwest of England, having seen this picture here, but as I record this video, it's February 2014, and we've just had 4 months worth of the most horrendous storms, and Plymouth's taken a bit of a battering, but there you go. Which is why, coming to the picture on the far right, my dream is to move to Gibraltar, where they don't have as many storms and they have an awful lot more sunshine. So that's my dreams and aspirations. And my big hobby, my passion when I'm not doing webinars, is salsa dancing, particularly on the waterfront. That's me there, in the blue t-shirt with the sunglasses on, having an absolute ball. So that's basically me and where I'm coming from. Now I just want to show you that it's webinars and making money from webinars is not just for the gurus. I could sit here and tell you you can make, you know, I don't know, 6 figures from one webinar. Okay, starting out, that's probably not going to happen. But what I do want to show you is, look, this is all during the evening of the webinar and then spilling over to the early hours of the morning and the following day. Loads and loads and loads of, you know, $47 product, and this was my first multiple sale webinar, which was May 2013. And I can't begin to tell you what it felt like when I saw these coming into my account, because previously I'd maybe sold 1 at 27 here and maybe 2 somewhere else at $37, and, you know, 1 at $47. So when I mastered the art of putting together that killer webinar presentation and the whole process is involved, suddenly to have them all coming in like this, it just feels so wonderful. And then what you're going to learn on the webinar is how you just turn that webinar where you're selling, say, $47, how you turn that then into, you know, with your follow-ups and everything, how you turn that into big sales. And from this particular webinar is when I had my first 5-figure month, and that's what I'm going to be sharing with you on how, you know, exactly how I did that, so you can do it too. So on the webinar then, make sure you show up, because I am going to be sharing exactly what I did to go from no sales at all to $16,000 from just one webinar. And I'm going to do that by sharing with you my unique profitable webinar blueprint. a blueprint that you can follow for great results and something that you can replicate over and over again. I'm also going to tell you how you can get your hands on more great information, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to get your questions answered. So I'm going to hold a Q&A where you can literally, so bring your questions to the webinar and I will make sure I answer all of those questions for you. Cool. The other thing I'm going to do is give you a webinar planning checklist to take away all the headaches and the heartache that goes with, oh, what have I got to do? And because initially it can seem daunting, but if you've got a step-by-step to follow checklist, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, and you can tick them off as you do them, then it's going to make your planning so much easier. So that's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope that you can show up live for the webinar. I really look forward to seeing you there and to sharing all the juicy content that I've got so that you can get going and make really profitable webinars. I'll see you on the webinar.